The warning. The crystalline spires of the Meridian Archive stretched toward the violet sky of Aquarius Prime, their surfaces refracting the light of 3 setting suns. Within one of the uppermost chambers, senior archivist Naira Vedtal's tentacles rippled with distress as she reviewed the data streams flowing across her neural interface for the 4th time. "This can't be correct," she whispered, her bioluminescent patterns flickering with anxiety. But the data didn't lie. Hidden within seemingly routine trade manifests and stellar cartography updates, she had discovered something terrifying. Evidence of a massive military buildup in the Outer Rim. The Crax Dominion, a species known for their ruthless efficiency and rigid hierarchical society, was preparing for war on an unprecedented scale. Naira's species, the Aquarians, had maintained the Meridian Archive for millennia, cataloging the flow of information across thousands of worlds. They were respected for their neutrality and dedication to knowledge, but that same dedication had now revealed a threat that could reshape the galaxy. She immediately transmitted her findings to the Council of Elders, expecting swift action. Instead, the response she received sent waves of dismay through her chromatophores. "Your concerns are noted, Archivist Vedtal." Elder Sin's message read, "But we cannot risk our position of neutrality on speculation. The Crax Dominion has signed the Galactic Concordat. They are bound by its terms." Naira's frustration manifested in pulses of deep red across her skin. The Elders were falling into the same trap that had doomed countless civilizations, assuming that treaties and traditions would bind those who had no respect for either. She had one option left. Against protocol and tradition, Naira accessed the restricted communications array. If the established powers wouldn't listen, perhaps the newcomers would. Humanity had joined the galactic community barely 50 years ago, after their discovery of faster-than-light travel. They were viewed with mixture of curiosity and dismissal by the older species, too young to be taken seriously, too aggressive to be truly civilized. But Naira had studied their history extensively, and what others saw as flaws, she recognized as strengths. Her message was direct. To the United Earth Defense Force Command, "I have evidence of an imminent threat to galactic peace. The established powers refuse to act. Will you listen?" The response came faster than she expected. "Transmit your data. We're listening." Within hours, Naira found herself facing a holographic projection of Admiral Sarah Chen, her dark eyes sharp and alert despite the late hour on Earth. As Naira presented her evidence, she noticed something fascinating. Unlike the Elders, who had dismissed the patterns, Chen asked questions, precise, probing questions that revealed a mind accustomed to considering worst-case scenarios. "The build-up pattern matches historical precedents," Chen said finally. "Multiple staging areas, resource stockpiling, fleet movements disguised as routine patrols. Classic preparation for a massive first strike." She leaned forward. "Why come to us?" Naira's chromatophores shifted to a pattern indicating sincere communication. "Because you understand preparation for war doesn't guarantee war, but failing to prepare guarantees defeat." Chen's slight smile suggested she appreciated the insight. "The Security Council will want to verify this independently, but we'll begin contingency planning immediately." "Thank you, Archivist Vedtal. You may have just saved billions of lives." But as Naira would soon learn, humanity's definition of contingency planning was far more aggressive than anything she had imagined. Within weeks, human ships began appearing at seemingly random points across the galaxy. They claimed to be conducting routine surveys and cultural exchange missions. But Naira, watching through the Archive's information networks, recognized the truth. They were positioning assets, establishing supply lines, and quietly building alliances with smaller species who shared their concerns about the Crax. The humans called it preparing for the worst while hoping for the best. It was an approach alien to most galactic species, who either prepared for war openly or not at all. This middle path, discreet preparation while maintaining plausible deniability, was uniquely human. 6 months after her initial contact with Admiral Chen, Naira received another message from Earth. We've confirmed your analysis. The cracks aren't just preparing for war. They're planning to reshape the galaxy. We estimate they'll launch their campaign within 2 standard years. We won't be caught off guard, but we need your help. The archive must remain neutral, Naira responded, her patterns showing conflict between duty and conviction. We're not asking the archive to take sides, Chen replied. We're asking you, Archivist Vedtal, to help us save lives. Your knowledge of galactic information flows could help us protect civilian populations when the fighting starts. Naira spent a full day in meditation, her chromatophores cycling through patterns of deep thought. The archive had maintained its neutrality for thousands of years, but what was the purpose of preserving knowledge if civilization itself was at risk? I will help, she transmitted finally, but not for humanity, and not for the archive. I will help because knowledge without action is merely trivia, and wisdom without courage is just hesitation. Chen's response was typically human, brief, decisive, and tinged with humor. Welcome to the resistance, Archivist. Let's make some history worth recording. As Naira began her work with the humans, she couldn't help but marvel at the irony. The galaxy's eldest species dismissed humanity as too aggressive, too paranoid, too quick to prepare for conflict. But those very traits might prove to be the galaxy's salvation. Sometimes it took the wisdom of youth to see through the complacency of age. The warning had been given. The preparations had begun. Now all that remained was to see if they would be enough when the storm finally broke. The preparation. Admiral Chen stood before the holographic display in the Athens station war room, watching red dots multiply across the galactic map. Each one represented a confirmed Cracks military installation, carefully documented through the combined efforts of human intelligence and Naira's information network. The pattern was becoming undeniable. They're creating a noose, Lieutenant Commander Marcus Rodriguez observed, his weathered face illuminated by the hologram's glow. These positions could cut off major trade routes within days of an invasion. Not could, will, Chen corrected. The question is how we tighten our own noose first. Operation Shadow Web was humanity's answer to the looming Cracks threat. While the galaxy's established powers continued to dismiss warnings as paranoia, the United Earth Defense Force had been systematically preparing for what they now saw as an inevitable conflict. The operations nerve center was Athens Station, officially registered as a deep space research facility. In reality, it was a state-of-the-art military command center, hidden in plain sight within an unremarkable asteroid field. Here, humanity was developing weapons and strategies that would have horrified their more civilized galactic neighbors. Show me the Phantom Fleet status, Chen ordered. The hologram shifted, revealing clusters of seemingly innocent cargo ships and mining vessels scattered across trade routes. Each one was actually a heavily armed warship in disguise, their weapons and military-grade shields concealed behind sophisticated holographic camouflage, a direct violation of multiple galactic treaties. 70% of the fleet is in position, Rodriguez reported. The rest will be deployed within 3 weeks. The Cracks haven't noticed anything unusual about the increased shipping traffic. Chen nodded. And Project Prometheus. The display changed again, showing a massive orbital facility around Jupiter. Here, human scientists worked alongside a handful of trusted alien allies, developing technologies that merged human ingenuity with advanced alien knowledge. The project's crown jewel was the Neural Disruptor, a weapon designed specifically to target the Cracks' hive mind command structure. The final tests are promising, a new voice announced. Dr. Samira Patel, the project's lead scientist, stepped into the war room. The disruptor can severely impair Cracks' neural networks without affecting other species. But Admiral, using this weapon will reveal just how much we understand about Cracks' biology. They'll know we've been studying them for years. By then, it won't matter, Chen replied grimly. They'll be too busy fighting for survival to worry about how we develop the weapon. Through her neural interface, Naira watched the humans prepare with a mixture of fascination and concern. Their capacity for warfare was remarkable, but it was their ability to maintain absolute secrecy that truly impressed her. The Aquarian archivist had helped them place information specialists throughout key networks, ensuring that evidence of their preparations remained hidden within the vast flow of galactic data. "Your species continues to surprise me," Naira commented during one of her regular briefings with Chen. "Most races prepare for war with grand announcements and military parades. You prepare like assassins." Chen's expression was solemn. "History taught us that the loudest army isn't always the most effective. Sometimes the best weapon is the one your enemy doesn't know exists." The preparations weren't limited to military assets. Human diplomats had been quietly building a network of allies among the galaxy's smaller species, those who shared their concerns about Crack's expansion. These alliances were disguised as trade agreements and cultural exchange programs, but each one included secret military provisions that would activate the moment the Cracks made their move. "The Cracks believe size equals strength," Rodriguez noted during a strategy session. "They're dismissing smaller species as irrelevant. That's going to cost them." But the humans' greatest advantage lay in their psychological preparation. While other species remained complacent, humanity was mentally ready for war. Every UEDV officer and soldier knew what was coming. They had trained for it, planned for it, and accepted the reality of the coming conflict. As the final preparations neared completion, Chen received an urgent message from Naira. The archivist's chromatophores pulsed with anxiety as she reported. "The Crack's fleet movements have changed pattern. They're accelerating their timeline." Chen's response was immediate. "How long?" 2 weeks at most. They're gathering their forces faster than predicted." The Admiral's expression didn't change, but her voice carried the weight of command as she activated the command channel. "All units, Operation Shadow Web is now at Phase Red. I repeat, Phase Red. This is not a drill." Across the galaxy, disguised human warships began final weapon checks. Hidden manufacturing facilities increased production to maximum capacity. Sleeper agents moved to their assigned positions. The vast machine of human military preparation, assembled in secret over months, rumbled to life. In her archive chamber, Naira felt a shiver pass through her tentacles. The humans had spent months preparing for this moment, yet she still wondered if even they truly understood what was coming. The Cracks were about to unleash the largest military campaign in galactic history, but they were about to learn something that humanity had known for millennia. The most dangerous opponent isn't always the biggest or strongest. Sometimes it's the one who saw you coming and prepared accordingly. As she watched the final preparations unfold, Naira remembered an ancient human saying Chen had once quoted, "Civis pacem, para bellum." If you want peace, prepare for war. The humans had prepared. Now they would show the galaxy exactly what that preparation meant. First strike. The Cracks' attack began at precisely 300 Universal Standard Time. Their warships dropped out of hyperspace simultaneously across 17 major systems, their black hulls bristling with weapons. It was meant to be a devastating first strike that would paralyze the galaxy's major powers before they could mount an effective response. But the Cracks weren't the only ones who struck at 300. Admiral Chen stood on Athens Station's command deck, watching as Operation Shadow Web activated. Across the galaxy, innocent-looking cargo ships suddenly shed their holographic disguises, revealing heavily armed human warships. Mining facilities transformed into military bases. Civilian stations unveiled hidden weapon systems. First wave of neural disruptors activated, Rodriguez reported, his fingers dancing across tactical displays. Crack's fleet cohesion is already degrading in sectors 7 through 12. The neural disruptors were having exactly the effect Dr. Patel had predicted. The Cracks' hive mind command structure, usually their greatest strength, became their critical weakness. Ships that should have moved in perfect coordination began to falter, their crews struggling to maintain neural connections. The Cracks flagship is requesting emergency communication with all major powers. Naira reported through the quantum link, her chromatophores pulsing with barely contained excitement. They're demanding to know how this is possible. Their attack pattern was perfect. Their timing was exact. They want to know how anyone could have been prepared. Chen's reply was cold. Let them wonder. The battle unfolded across multiple fronts, but nowhere did it go according to the Cracks' plan. When they attempted to seize major trade hubs, they found hidden human defense platforms waiting. When they tried to cut off supply lines, they discovered that key resources had already been secretly stockpiled at strategic locations. But it was the smaller species, the ones the Cracks had dismissed as irrelevant, who delivered some of the most devastating blows. The Vidrians, masters of bioengineering, released engineered microbes that ate through Cracks' hull plating. The Zorn, a species of skilled hackers previously known only for their entertainment software, deployed viruses that turned Cracks' targeting systems against their own ships. "Admiral," Rodriguez called out, his voice tight with urgency. "The Cracks are adapting. They're switching to independent ship control, bypassing their neural networks." Chen nodded. This had been anticipated. Execute Protocol Omega. All ships, switch to Phase 2 targeting priorities. The human fleet's tactics shifted instantly. Instead of targeting Cracks' neural centers, they began focusing fire on command and control systems. The Cracks might be able to operate independently, but they'd lost the perfect coordination that made their massive fleet so deadly. In her archive chamber, Naira watched the battle through countless data streams, her tentacles weaving complex patterns of astonishment. The Cracks' attack should have been unstoppable. They had numbers, technology, and the element of surprise. But humanity had turned each of these advantages into a weakness. "They're sending out a general distress call," Naira reported. They're requesting assistance from the major powers, claiming that humanity has violated galactic law by maintaining a secret military force. Chen's laugh was without humor. "Send them our response." Across all frequencies in every known language, the human message broadcast. The Cracks' Dominion launched an unprovoked attack on peaceful systems. Humanity and its allies are conducting a legitimate defense action. Any species providing aid to the Cracks will be considered hostile forces. The message was backed by proof. Countless documents, communications, and intelligence reports that Naira had helped compile, showing exactly how long the Cracks had been planning their attack. The major powers, many of whom had dismissed earlier warnings, now found themselves faced with undeniable evidence of what they had ignored. But the battle was far from over. The Cracks still commanded the largest fleet in galactic history, and they were rapidly adjusting to human tactics. As the first day of combat drew to a close, new Cracks battle groups began arriving from their core systems. "They're bringing in their reserves," Rodriguez observed. "At least 3 times the forces we estimated." Chen's expression remained determined. "Good. That means they're taking us seriously now." She turned to the tactical display. "All ships, implement scorched earth protocols. Show them why humanity has survived every extinction-level threat we've ever faced." As new orders went out, Naira noticed something remarkable in the human communications. There was no panic, no surprise at the Cracks' superior numbers. Every human commander acknowledged their orders with the same calm efficiency they'd shown during training exercises. You knew they would have hidden reserves, Naira realized, her chromatophores flickering with sudden understanding. "You planned for this." "We planned for everything," Chen confirmed. "The Cracks think this is a battle of numbers. We're about to show them it's a battle of will." As the second wave of combat began, Naira finally understood why humans were considered dangerous by so many species. It wasn't their technology, their numbers, or even their military prowess. It was their absolute, unshakable determination. They had spent months preparing for this fight, considering every possibility, planning for every contingency. The Cracks had launched their attack expecting to find a galaxy unprepared and easily conquered. Instead, they had awakened a sleeping giant, one that had been quietly sharpening its claws while pretending to slumber. The real question now was, how far would humanity go to win this war? As Naira watched Chen coordinate the next phase of the battle, she suspected she was about to find out. The Crucible. 3 weeks into the war, Athens Station's war room had become a testament to humanity's endurance. Empty stimulant packets littered workstations, and officers moved with the mechanical precision of those who had forgotten what proper sleep felt like. But their eyes remained sharp, focused on the evolving battle that stretched across thousands of light years. Crack's forces have seized the Helios sector, Rodriguez reported, his voice hoarse. But they're bleeding for every system they take. The neural disruptors have forced them to maintain minimal neural links. Their efficiency is down 60%. Admiral Chen studied the tactical display, where red markers showed Crack's controlled space, seemingly overwhelming the green of Allied territory. To most observers, it would appear humanity was losing. But Chen saw something different in the pattern. They're overextending, she noted. Exactly as predicted. Activate the tripwire protocol. Across occupied systems, dormant programs suddenly activated. Automated mining devices, left behind during apparent evacuations, transformed into mobile bombs. Hyperspace beacons, vital for faster-than-light travel, began broadcasting false coordinates. Supply caches that the Cracks had captured exploded, taking entire battle groups with them. The Cracks' Supreme Commander is broadcasting on all frequencies, Naira reported through the quantum link. Her chromatophores pulse with a pattern indicating both awe and horror. They're calling humans demons. They say you violated every convention of civilized warfare. Civilized warfare, Chen repeated with a grim smile. An oxymoron if I ever heard one. Remind them who launched this invasion in the first place. The Cracks had expected a conventional war, where fleets met in open battle and territory was won or lost in grand engagements. Instead, they found themselves fighting shadows. Human ships would appear from nowhere, strike critical targets, and vanish before retaliation could be mounted. Supply lines were disrupted by attacks from supposedly peaceful civilian vessels. Even their secure communications were compromised by infiltration programs hidden in routine data packets months before the war began. But the true masterstroke of humanity's strategy was only now becoming apparent. As the Cracks pushed deeper into Allied space, they found themselves fighting not just human forces, but an increasingly hostile environment. Every system they captured became a potential death trap. New Cracks tactical doctrine detected, Rodriguez announced. They're implementing planetary bombardment protocols. They're done trying to capture resources. They're going to destroy everything they can't immediately secure. Chen's expression hardened. They're playing into our hands. Execute Operation Hydra. Across human space, a new weapon revealed itself. Automated terraforming systems, originally designed to make hostile planets habitable, had been modified into planet-killing weapons. As Cracks bombardment fleets approached human worlds, they found their targets fighting back. On New Terra, massive atmosphere processors released clouds of corrosive gases that ate through Cracks ship hulls. The ice plains of Europa erupted with hidden missile silos. The mining colonies of the asteroid belt transformed into weapon platforms, their mass drivers hurling chunks of metal at relativistic speeds. This is impossible. A Cracks commander's transmission echoed through intercepted channels. Every rock, every piece of ice, every mining platform is a weapon. How long have they been preparing for this? The answer, of course, was since the moment Naira had first warned them. But the preparation went deeper than even the Cracks imagined. Humanity hadn't just prepared their weapons, they had prepared their entire civilization for this war. Admiral, Naira's voice carried a note of revelation. I'm detecting a pattern in Cracks' fleet movements. They're not just retreating from heavily defended systems, they're being herded. Chen's smile was predatory. Now you see it. Every trap we laid, every system we appeared to abandon, every counterattack we mounted, it was all designed to push them exactly where we want them. The tactical display shifted, showing the larger strategic picture. The cracks' advances, which had seemed like victories, had actually pushed their forces into a massive pocket. Their supply lines were stretched thin, their reinforcements were delayed by damaged hyperspace beacons, and their neural networks were constantly disrupted. But the cost, Naira observed, her chromatophores darkening with concern. You've sacrificed entire systems to maintain this deception. We sacrificed infrastructure, Chen corrected. Buildings can be rebuilt. Ships can be replaced. But if we don't stop the cracks here and now, they'll never stop expanding. Sometimes you have to burn your own fields to deny the enemy sustenance. As if to emphasize her point, reports began flooding in of new cracks losses. Entire battle groups, trapped in systems they thought they had conquered, found themselves under attack from all sides. The very resources they had captured were turned against them, the automated systems they had ignored revealing themselves as weapons. Final phase of Operation Hydra is ready, Rodriguez reported. Awaiting your command, Admiral. Chen took a moment to survey the war room, meeting the eyes of each officer present. They had all known this moment would come. They had trained for it, prepared for it, steeled themselves for the cost. The cracks thought they could break us with their numbers, Chen addressed her crew. They thought we would fold in the face of their superior force. Instead, we taught them a lesson humanity learned long ago. It's not the size of the army that matters, but the will behind it. She turned back to the tactical display, where the trap was finally ready to close. Execute final phase. Show them what happens when you push humanity into a corner. As new orders raced across human networks, Naira realized she was about to witness something unprecedented in galactic history. The moment when humanity's full military potential was finally unveiled. The cracks had started this war believing they were the hunters. They were about to learn they had actually been the prey all along. Victory's price. Operation Hydra's final phase began with silence. Across the battlefront, human forces suddenly ceased all attacks. The cracks, their fleet trapped in what they now realized was an enormous kill zone, faced a moment of eerie calm. Enemy flagship is broadcasting, Rodriguez reported. They're demanding our surrender. Admiral Chen stood before the tactical display, her uniform wrinkled from days without rest, but her voice steady. Send our response. Throughout the trapped cracks fleet, every communication system, every neural network, every data terminal suddenly displayed the same message. Look up. Above the cracks armada, space itself seemed to ripple. Hundreds of massive ships dropped their stealth fields, revealing humanity's true masterstroke. While the visible human fleet had been herding the cracks into position, an entirely separate force had been lying in wait, hidden by technology that merged human ingenuity with Vidrian biocamouflage. The cracks' supreme commander is requesting direct communication, Naira reported, her chromatophores pulsing with anticipation. Chen nodded, and the holographic image of the cracks leader materialized in the war room. Supreme Commander Vexthor was an imposing figure, his chitinous armor bearing the marks of countless victories. But now, for the first time in his long life, his posture showed uncertainty. You could have deployed this fleet at any time, Vexthor said, mandibles clicking in agitation. Why wait? Why let us advance so far? Because a cornered enemy fights the hardest, Chen replied. We needed your entire fleet committed to the advance. Every ship, every soldier, every resource. And now we have exactly that. Understanding dawned in the cracks leader's compound eyes. This entire war, our every move, was orchestrated, Chen finished. Your invasion plans were known to us months in advance. Every system you captured was prepared to resist. Every victory you claimed was designed to draw you deeper into our trap. Humanity doesn't just prepare for war, Supreme Commander. We prepare to win. You cannot expect us to simply surrender, Vexthor declared, but his voice lacked conviction. No, Chen agreed. But I expect you to make a choice. You can either surrender now and face justice for your unprovoked aggression, or, she gestured to the tactical display, where the hidden human fleet had the entire Cracks armada in its sights. We can demonstrate exactly why even our allies sometimes fear us. In her archive chamber, Naira watched the exchange with a mixture of awe and trepidation. The humans hadn't just outfought the Cracks, they had outfought them at every turn. Every human loss had been calculated, every retreat planned, every sacrifice made in service of this final moment. Vexthor's next words carried the weight of defeat. The Cracks' dominion surrenders. As surrender signals spread throughout the trapped fleet, Chen's expression remained solemn. Victory had come at a terrible cost. Dozens of systems had been devastated, millions of lives lost, entire worlds scared by the engines of war. Send word to all Allied forces, Chen ordered. The war is over. Begin humanitarian operations immediately, and get me a channel to Earth. The reconstruction phase needs to start now. In the days that followed, the galaxy witnessed something just as surprising as humanity's military prowess, their capacity for mercy. Relief ships reached devastated worlds within hours. Human medical technology, held in reserve during the fighting, was freely shared with all affected species. Even captured Crack soldiers received treatment for their injuries. I don't understand, Naira admitted during the post-war briefing. After everything they did, why show them such kindness? Because that's the real victory, Chen explained. Not just defeating them, but showing them a better way. The Cracks built their empire on fear. We'll help rebuild it on cooperation. 1 month after the surrender, representatives from every major species gathered on Earth for the signing of the new Galactic Concordat. The document, drafted primarily by human diplomats, established new protocols for military transparency and mutual defense. As Chen watched the signing ceremony, Naira's hologram appeared beside her. The archives will remember this, the archivist said, her chromatophores showing deep respect. Not just the victory, but how it was achieved. Your species proved that true strength lies not just in the ability to win wars, but in the wisdom to win peace. Chen smiled, thinking of all the secrets still hidden throughout human space, weapons unused, strategies unneeded, preparations still in place. Let's hope we never have to prove it again, she said. But if we do, you'll be ready, Naira finished. As delegates from across the galaxy mingled at the celebration, many noticed something curious. The humans, architects of the most comprehensive military victory in recent history, seemed the most relaxed of all. Perhaps because they understood something that their defeated enemies were only now learning. True power lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the choice not to. The price of peace had been high, but humanity had shown the galaxy that they were willing to pay it, not just in blood and resources, but in the endless preparation, the careful planning, and finally, the mercy shown to a defeated foe. In the end, that would be humanity's greatest victory, not just winning the war, but winning the peace that followed.